What's up everybody, it's Eli here from Ps4 Studios, and welcome back to Game Devlog episode number 5. This week we're going to be taking a look at the level design and modeling process for the brand new bonus level from the perplexing orb featured in Maze. That being said, let's get started.
Okay, so like last week, we are going to be taking a look at the modeling process for a brand new level in the Perplexing Orb. However, this one is a little bit different. It's a bonus level, not one of the main levels, and I actually started the creation of it live while streaming on Twitch. Just a little shout out, I stream on Twitch twice a week right now, and you can follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Ps4 Studios if you're interested in seeing some of the level work live. And then what I did was I went to the progress that I had started on Twitch, and then I finished it up while recording it all for YouTube. So there was actually a lot I still had to do after where I was when I stopped. Most of the main level flow had been created, but as you can see here, I'm still playing with a couple of different ideas. I was thinking about having holes in here in order to have you have to jump and avoid falling through. And then I tried to do some walls here, which really looked kind of hideous. So I changed the wall system a little bit. This was a little bit tedious because I needed to bring them up one by one. So I kind of did like a stair step wall system, so it kind of looked a little bit cooler, but you couldn't like jump out and be on top because there's kind of like level skips if you can get out and then get on top of the other walls. So I was working to avoid those types of things. I was building these walls here. Most of the flow had been created. Then you can see I'm starting to play around here, and I was trying to see if I could do something up there, and then I decided to leave that alone. And then I don't know if I do it just yet, but in just a little bit I'll go around and make a secret path on the outside of that top area. So the top area is the finish section of the map, and you start in the very center, which is where the start is. And you can see that not at this very second, but you can see that there's a couple different ways you can leave from the start, but most of the paths are blocked off, or you can see from the start where the paths get blocked off if you look close enough. And there was the little secret path creation. So basically there's multi-levels. There's an outside, there's a very inside, the center here, and then there's an outside ring, and then there's a middle ring, which is really tiny, and then there's the top floor. And then there's secret passages around the outsides to get you around through this area. As you can see, this process became a little tedious. I was clicking through in order to mark the seams in order to texture it, because at this point I was basically done with the level layout. But it turns out that this was going to take a bit longer than necessary, so I seam up the beginning part of the maze, and then for some of the other areas I don't, and I just unwrap per face. So the entire idea of this level is to fit the theme of the Perplexing Orb, and so that's a ball balance rolling game. So you can see all of these like different platforms that are kind of like hills that are like rolling off, which are similar to the platforms in the Perplexing Orb. So that's why I did the multi-tiered system floor for this level, but I still wanted it to have maze features. So there's multiple paths that you can take. There's hidden passageways around the back sides. There's little hallways to go in, and there's different hills to climb for this one specifically. Which is different than some of the other mazes. I don't usually do this much of incline in a single maze, so I really found this level design to be very enjoyable to create and to make, especially all these little side alcoves kind of hiding away where the items are going to be. So I kind of have the items split on a pathway here to where you can see a few of them at the start, and then when you go get those coins from the start, they kind of show you where you need to go. and lead you along the path, and they're kind of distributed evenly along the critical path to get to the level. There is one coin that you have to go towards the dead end path to get, but you can see it from the secret path, and then once you get it, you can just turn around and leave. And you can see from the start that there's nowhere else to go from that dead end path, so if you were paying enough attention, you would know to turn around and leave. But if you weren't, then it's okay, because really it's not that much farther. You'll see the dead end and then just realize you have to turn around, because that's not the area to go anyways. And as you can see now, I started the texturing process. So this is what I was mentioning. This took days, actually. This footage was captured over a few different days, and I skipped a lot of it out because I knew the video would be way too long. So I think there's only about, this is probably just over an hour of recorded footage. I think it's like an hour and 20 minutes maybe, and it's sped up 10 times fast, so that's what you're watching now. But I cut out a lot of the middle parts, because just the texturing itself took so long, and all these different little pathways like this took even longer to get right because they weren't exactly uniform, but I had to match the scale correctly and do it all right so that it would look just perfect whenever it got into the game engine. And I just gotta say, as you're watching it all come together towards the end of the texturing process, I really just enjoy looking at this level from a zoomed out perspective with the perplexing orb textures. I think it looks really cool, just between the textures fitting this level and the overall level design. It's just one of my favorite, it's definitely my favorite bonus level for this game, I think, and it's one of my favorite mazes so far. I love the new designs I've been working on. So now you're seeing it in the game engine, and I've built the lighting and placed the coins where I wanted to go. So I do a little bit of exploration here just so I can show you for the video. But I don't think this is going to be completely final because I'm not 100% set on the lighting. It looks pretty good to me, but I think I want the shadows and stuff to be a little bit darker, and the green is a little bit bright in the game for Maze, so I might do a little bit of color grading to kind of tone down these textures and the overall look in post-processing, and then try to rebuild the lighting after that and see what the overall feel is. If not, I can always revert back to this. So I'm not sure. I think I'm going to do a little bit more editing in order to get it just perfect, but you're getting a good example of what it looks like to be character size inside these walls. Here's one of my favorite parts. There's a little alcove here with the coin in it, and this is one of my favorite parts of the design because you have to jump down to continue on. There's a coin down here. You can't get back up. And it's a dead end over that way. That's the other dead end that I was talking about when you come from the other direction. And I built this cool little spiral staircase up here over this bridge to drop down so you can head right back to the finish.
If you guys liked this video, enjoyed seeing some of the behind the scenes process, please leave me a like and be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't, so you're always staying up to date with cool new game development content like this. Gotta give a big shout out to all of our patrons. Thank you so much for supporting us on Patreon, and got to give a special shout out to Karma Red. Thank you so much for all you do for our Ps4 Studios on Patreon. With that being said, I'll catch you in the next video.